Okay. First of all, I just want to say thank you, God. And I gotta say that every day because, like I said, I'm thankful for the life that I didn't end up even have the opportunity to live with, or live like. I'm listening to this child perps that the government like to contract to utilize them in this fashion, whatever ways to agitate target individuals, to make them lose their mind. But there's a lot of mention and testimonials of target individual calling out there's a lot of teenagers and childlike individual involved in the targeting. So it seems like they like to utilize that is in then most likely because they want the ecosystem of the target individual to be an ecosystem of individuals that could just disorient, distort, and agitate the target individual. And of course, childlike individuals are very much, they can be very agitating in the sense that they're just childish and kind of easy to manage. If you think about it, it's not like they're fully developed mentally and very easily influenceable. So they're the ideal people to kind of use too, which makes sense. But with me, I was hearing this low life child shit. Excuse my language, I have to say that because they tell me they're gonna act like I've been baited by one of them, and I was in relationship, and I was dating, all kind of nastiness. And you've seen videos of me showing the picture of some of those neighbor kids they said they're gonna frame me with, or they've baited me with. That's what they say, right? It's funny how they just method act, like to stay in character. They like method act just so when the time comes they can really act like we're truly worried, right? But with me, I don't allow them to even live in this this creative, imaginative fashion, because I want them to see them not trash. You're gonna act like you did something. You're just a nasty little thing. If you come near me, I will probably slap you. So if you want me to help you method act so you can stay in character, no, trash. If you bait it, the only thing they can bait me to is to bait me to just do some harmful thing like slapping her. That's the only bait. If this child like trash come near me acting like where I will slap the life out of these kids if they try to act like we're an item. Target individual, this is how bad it is around me. They're using their own children to use them as a tool to frame people. I'm hearing this trash saying, "Oh, I'm gonna frame you. We're gonna pretend like that you're together, and you're gonna see my father. My father's in jail. He's gonna die in hell." It's like, your father failed you. If this is what you do as a teenage kid, you have failed. Your family failed you. You live your teenage childhood acting like you're getting raped by me. That's why I'm so thankful I didn't have to live life like them. Thank you. This low life is going to grow up to be what? They're going to flourish in their career and their life? Please. It's nasty. But that's why I need to be thankful, because I could have been them. I could have been them enjoying myself doing that as a child. For me, I came back from the office and they tell me that they have like detective investigating. It's all gonna be like theatrical, if this is happening. And I saw somebody who looked like he went in the car that looked like a car that is like a car of a cop, and you can see how nervous he was because he knows this is, of course, it's fabricated. He's just part of that. You look tense. They were supposed to act accordingly. I have my camera on too. I have a body cam. It doesn't make it easy. Like, they're gonna have to method acts, right? If this is what they're gonna go through, it's gonna be a lot of just like, we have to just really stay in character, just really minimize reality and who we are. Some of them, there's some childlike individuals that are there. These are the low life, just did nothing. This is like male like individual who is super childish. I think if I saw him in person, that would be really bad. Childish like individual. This guy is like a kid who wants to, like, these people who are like so like childlike men who are probably young adults who want to be competitive, but they're not really winners. They get involved in something where there is no like winning or loser. But this is his time to feel like he's like a winner and just like, yeah, and we're gonna do this. And I'm like, I will never let you live your clown life. You delusional shit. And he wants to sound sensible and try to make you accept of these things. Never. I will never identify with any of this manipulation targeting video. Like I said, I have to put this Delgado interview that was like, I think in 2001, when these two individuals went to talk to him, and the things they revealed in regard of like what they were doing back in the days, and it was not even revealed, like it was not even something that was just it was, that actually revealed term is not even the right word. They just forced me to use that word. What they just opened up again, that was already there. Apparently what this man has done is just so advanced, but it's been he wrote books about how far he went with things, how much he accomplished. It's just people have like they say, a collective amnesia of what he's been doing. He wrote books and it's insane. But people have forgot the accomplishment this man has attained in the 60s. And it's not like hidden. It's not something that it's in the libraries, he wrote books. Probably call it collecting dust somewhere. Nobody's thinking about it. But just this interview just showed how far ahead they were already in the 60s. Like, it's just, and what shocked me about it is just how open he was. Like, how these accomplishments are very well documented in the 60s. So these clowns here try to come now. I will do this. You were not man. It's like, shut up. It's more clear than ever. And so because reality is more exposed to them, that my brain, the human brains they've been working on altering the brain for so long, and they've been able to accomplish so much so long ago, in such an early stage, that it's only clear that today, the level of sophistication and the ability to do things to the brain is to another level, to manipulate the brain. And so because of that, there's the more childish retards coming out try to recreate reality. So now we can't be rational anymore, because the rationality is like, okay, if they were able to do these things to the brain in the 60s, what can they do today? As target individuals, you are surrounded by people who want you to lose state of reality. And so they surround me with ecosystem of clowns, of people who don't care how retarded they have, because they have to dumb yourself. They have to dumb, some of them don't have to dumb themselves down. They're already on that stage, but they have to dumb themselves down. So you don't put things together in a sensical way, right? So this is part of the like psychological game that they play, because your brain is being manipulated. It's clear they can manipulate your brain. They've been able to do that in the 60s. So today, what can you imagine? So they have this ecosystem of people who just try to deflect, diverge, make you retarded, make you think in this illogical way, because they have the ability to manipulate your thought process. And so this ecosystem around you is trying to deflect that. So they will say something else. Oh, this is that. Look at that. Hey. Oh, that. Don't look at this man talking about in the 60s was able to make somebody have some emotion stimulations, anger in the 60s by just rewiring the brain. But hey, think about this. Hey, think about this. Because we're not manipulating you. Because in the 60s, that's what they were able to do. So what can you do? What can we do at this point in 2025? In the 2020? So these clowns around you just recreate the reality. Now we are war. We're warriors. Pay. When the truth, you're just one of the test subjects that they continuously utilize to continuously improve this technology that started in the 60s. So they use these retards around you to come up with fantasized reality, and then they're supposed to make you accept, because at the same time when you're being manipulated, they don't want you to be like, oh, yeah, you're being manipulated, but we know it. No. They want you to be like, oh, we're protecting our children, after they force you to have sexual stimulation to our children. Because they want you to be like, oh, it's me, and I'm not being manipulated, when they've been able to manipulate people to have sexual arousal since the 60s. They use this setup. Now with us, we're just mining and mapping the brain. Well, in the 60s, they're altering the brain. Now, I understand. what I got from understanding what happened in the 60s. So this man was talking about the ability to alter reason, and that's what the goal is. That's what all along they were starting this for. This is my brain being manipulated in that same way that they were talking about in the 60s. Thought process, memories, all of that, perceptions, emotions. Emotions are the easy stuff. They were able to change emotion back in those days. But thought process, reason, perception, they call it reason, able to control the that's the ultimate, that's what they want to get to. Control of the mind in every fashion. And then for me at this point, now I've been able to understand what this is all about, in a sense of, well, I've always understood, but I understand the tactics in a sense. So the technology, manipulation to control all of that in the degrading ways. These retards, these people, they agitating shit that is around you, that you hear via V2K. This trash are supposed to make you think that you're not being manipulated. And this is the other layer, part of the psychological way of just trying to break you down psychologically. My body is being broken down too, because the technology I'm dealing with is also technology that's hitting the body. And so they use these people that want you to accept these things. They want you to identify with the way you are being altered. And I'm not doing that. And they are also method acting with the stories like never. Here's the reality, target individual. You are being manipulated. You are no longer yourself. You are being changed and altered psychologically if you are dealing with this V2K synthetic telepathy that a lot of target individuals deal with. Physically, you know what's happening to you. We know that we're being handicapped in many ways, and our health is in compromised states because they're hitting us with this technology. This trash around you, they want you to start identifying with what is being happening to you, with the manipulations. They don't want you to see what's happening to you as you being altered, but as you. And they use this trash around you, who are fanatical in a sense. They want you to stay and believe these things as if you're not being manipulated. That is what is very dangerous. Because the fanaticalness is going to push somebody to do some harmful to them, because they know that they're being manipulated, but they think that the childlike ways going to negate the reality of the horrible things that's happened to you. Target individuals, stay strong. Look at this low life, like the shit the government is using to try to convince you that you're not being manipulated, when this technology clearly was able to do that in the 60s. I will never let this little trash live life thinking that they can act a certain way and that's reality. Never. Trash, just because it's easy to do the evil. I don't care. At this point, children or not, if they come near me, try to act like they can recreate reality in this fashion, with so many death, sufferings all around the world, I cannot allow that. I cannot. They're going to take accountability of what they're involved in, and of course, I will never identify with these nasty things. Come near me. Come near me with this attitude, thinking that you create this fantasized reality that you call your reality, that is a mania. No. You involved in this, you know what's happening, and trash, you are nothing to me. And this manipulation, we know this entity is contracting your dumb ass to be a retard. Are these entities going for these children? They try to paint this target individual in something else, because they can manipulate you in every disgusting ways, and they do that. Then act like they're the protectors of the community. This low life. I will swear to God that my purpose, I will never let people involved in this live in any deluded reality that they put together and be in front of me and act like I'm going to let them live the fantasy. Never. Let them sacrifice this retard. It's for them, good for them. Let them fucking live a disgusting life as they grow as adults. But if I'm not going to let them live the fantasy. And I'm sorry for the passion, but this is disgusting. It is my purpose in this life right now to, first of all, for everybody who participates in this program, be fully accountable for what they participate. I'm not going to let them live in this. They know what they enjoy this. Target individual, I'm being so manipulated, it's disturbing. Now, of course, it's extreme of everything. The 2 seconds ago, they made me have this reaction toward somebody. I wasn't even sure if it was an adult, a young adult, or like a teenager. I wasn't sure because she kind of could pass for like a very young adult or like a late teen, something like that. This stimulated me. But 2 seconds ago, before they were doing that to like a obvious child, that they were making me imagine that she was not a child, but she was kneeling. That's what she looked like a child. In my brain, they've created this mental battle. So I'm like, if you can't make me have this like experience toward an obvious kid that's maybe like a 6-year-old, this teenager, whatever, like she may be a 16, 17-year-old, that could, in my brain, you can mentally create her to be an adult. It's easy. And so it took me a while to like, it's like, yo, my brain is so bad that I had this, there was a mental battle on a 6-year-old. They were trying, and I had to like look back. It's like, are they really making me think that this is an adult, but she's kneeling? And so it's nasty. And they create this mental battle. It's like, oh, we begged at you. And then it got to the point where they were making me imagine if she had like a dating app, like, they are really going through my brain and altering him in these ways to try to make me accept these things. And they use this terminology, now we're mapping, using for clowning. You're just changing my thought process and making me imagine things to try to create a way to make me accepting of this manipulation. They have no shame. And they use this trash that only fanatical in the sense that they want you to be acceptive of these manipulations as if you're not being manipulated. And they think the more they act, oh, you're mad dead. Now trash you. This is what you do every time I look at children. You alter my brain. You done that to a 6-year-old, to a 4-year-old, to a 3-year-old, to all these babies. And then it's like, now we're mapping you, you're mapping them. No. You are altering the brain for me to experience something that I will not experience if my brain was now being altered. And Jose Delgado in the 60s was talking about how he was able to alter the brain using, obviously, the older technology with what you may now consider, obviously, very old. With forcing people to be able to have sexual arousals. Playing with the brain and finding out, oh, this is triggering this woman to have sexual arousal by stimulating this part of the brain. This is stimulating anger. In the 60s. No. And today, the level of refinery they probably have in the way they can even manipulate your thought process in such a like. And they have these clowns that they contract, a psyop. And their job is simple. Just make this person believe that this is not being manipulated and come up with the stories. And they try to agitate you and via V2K, piping the voices into your brain, which this technology is very old too. Voice to skull is this technology, apparently, that even in the 90s they were using to project the voice directly into your brain. Sounds schizophrenic, right? There's a little technology that does that. I think Robert Dawkins mentioned that even during the Gulf War, they used it to project the voices into the soldiers that were fighting for the Iraqi army, saying, hey, we're Allah. Drop your weapons. This is Allah talking to you. Drop your weapons. Drop. They let. Right? So even these perps use that onto us target visual, and you can hear them trying to sound eerie. Changing their voices like, yeah, you're going to do that. And then when I bring that up, they just try to be annoying. It's like, yeah, it's yours. It is. You can hear them try to adjust the way they talk to me using this V2K to create a different way to perceive them. It's not like, I don't think it's like my brain just talk. I wish it was that. I wish I could just hear voices because I'm schizophrenic. It's not that. You can hear them trying to sound eerie. Trying to sound certain ways. Try to sound agitating. Try to sound scary. It's like you can hear, it's like you hear somebody knowing that that person that I'm going to project my voice into to think in this way about me. So yeah, die. Yeah, we'll see. It's like somebody trying to sound like that. It's not even eerie. It's just like somebody trying to sound eerie. Somebody who's trying to sound convincing, sensible. It's like you can hear them putting effort on how they're sounding when they're projecting their voices into me. So you gotta be strong. You gotta be strong and understand that. Now for me, I've always put, let's see if I will be able to show. I always want to show what they did to me. Right now they did this with a teenager. I wasn't even sure what it was. Was she a teenager or like? And on top of that, they in my brain, playing with my brain even worse. My perception is messed up. They did that to a baby. I'll show you what they did that, just to give you the extreme and to the less extreme. So this is the least extreme one, right? Trying to make me think. Let's see if this is gonna pull up my. Trying to pull this, but this here. Let me show you. Let me show you the first of all. This child here. They made me think at first that this child was this was an adult that was just kneeling. I was like, what? And I swear they made me look at her and make me. They stimulated me immediately. Try to make me think of it like an adult that's kind of skinny, but kneeling. That's at the extreme they are. And so, and then when you see this, I don't know if you can see this here. This girl, it looked like either a teenager or like a young adult. At least at first, they were playing with me. The more I look at it, the more she looked like a teenager. But they tried to play with my brain. But they did that to a 6-year-old. So at first they were just messing with me, and of course the stimulations are another level, because at that point this teenager looks closer to an adult. So the perception can be played like an adult. Try to mess with me. Now they're like, no, like by the Billie Eilish, just try to create a story. And like, oh, but you think she's pretty good for her. Like a kid, a teenager. But try to create sexual stimulation. That's what they do. And then when they do that to me toward this teenager, this retard that they're going to contract, that they're using to pretend that I've been with them. These teenagers come out, oh, we baited you. It's like, trash, you're a retard. Just manipulating me. You did that to a 6-year-old. Whoever that kid was made me think of her like an adult that was kneeling. 6-year-old. So this teenager, whatever, maybe she's a 16-year-old. What do you imagine they can do to my brain? They can try to play with me, and of course, for minutes, like I said, like it took me a second. Now, when I look at it, now I can finally process her as a teenager. But my brain is being played with to the point where I perceive people in different ways, and the way they want me to perceive, from the babies to the older kids. As I always said, it was even a little black girl that where they're like, now we mapped it to you, like a 5-6-year-old, trying to give me stimulation. It's crazy. But what's the craziest part is, with this girl that you saw with the dog, they made me think that she was an adult. But she was kneeling. They were able to play with my brain to that level. And that's obvious. That's like, like not even, like she's 6, maybe 7 max. That's when, that is what the level of perception manipulation it can get to. Now, when they get that to a 6-7-year-old, a 16-year-old, 16, a teenager, like they can, at that point, you understand, the level of perception manipulation is less. Because they're getting closer to adult. These are babies. 6-7-year-old. Nothing resembling to an adult. Nothing. But to be able to make me perceive for a second, it was quick, that this child could be an adult when she's only like 6-7 years old, and there has nothing that resembles of an adult about her. But they can play my brain enough to do that. It gives you an idea what they're capable of doing. Now, a teenager and 16, the manipulation is not going to be to the same level. So you have this Perps, then they try to come. It's like, oh, yeah, we baited you. And then they make me imagine if I was like if you know, like the dating app Bumble, it's like, what if she's on Bumble? And they make me imagine one of this profile with her there, with her face, and then you see where mapped it. You could see it, like, you're creating this thing in my brain. You make me imagine. Dude, crazy. To make me accept this, you see, we proved it. What if she was on Bumble and she's one of the people with the 30 years old? Can you imagine some 30-year-old look like? You're making me imagine that. You make a 6-year-old look like an adult. They are playing your brain to the level to push you into insanity. And they do that in this degrading way because it's a weapon system. I'm here to tell the story of what's happening to me. And I understand with time what's happening. And the ecosystem is supposed to break you into accepting that your brain is not being manipulated, is not being altered, but this persona they put into you is you. Our girls. Trash. Where they know clearly this technology has been able to alter human beings since the 60s. And of course, in this raw version it was in the 60s, is obviously not this today. It's way more refined, way more able to control you, way more able to manipulate you, way more resourced, way more advanced. And they construct this illusionness that wants you to be on that childlike state so you can let them live. So you don't see the obvious patterns of they were able to manipulate people in the 60s like that, forcing people to have sexual arousals that way. For you to ignore the obvious pattern, they use these childlike individuals. Or even adult grown men and women who act like, oh, they're going to dumb themselves and become some mental retarded individual. So you get on the state of nonsensicalness. Target individuals stay strong and see this low life where they are.